Nation. And good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Allen.
Glad to have you here at 6 o'clock. I'm Courtney Collins. Police in Worthington, Minnesota have identified those involved in a crash between a freight train and a car that happened over the weekend.
The two passengers in that car, 23-year-old Nancy Elvira Estrada Miramontes and Moses Vela, are dead. The driver, 22-year-old Alejandro Vela Perez, hospitalized tonight with life-threatening injuries. The cause of the accident is still under investigation at this time. KSFY News reporter Mark Roper tells us about a safety program which targets railroad crossings in an effort to keep drivers safe. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Courtney. It's called Operation Lifesaver, and once a year, Worthington Police and the Union Pacific Railroad work together to remind drivers to arrive alive.
A few seconds and two flashing red lights can make a difference between life and death.
If you hear a train whistle, if you see the lights, if the crossbars come down, be patient. Those trains move faster and they're closer than they appear.
For drivers who might forget that advice at a railroad crossing, Worthington Sergeant Brett Wiltrout says Operation Lifesaver may remind them.
What the railroad does is they actually put a police officer on the locomotive. And then that officer is our eyes from the inside of the locomotive. And then we have officers on the outside of each side of the crossing ready to make traffic stops to violators.
Because a train coming down these tracks may not be able to stop for you.
Sometimes it can take up to a mile for the train to stop. The second thing why it's so important is that a car versus a train is like a pop can versus a car. The chances of there being a fatality when someone gets hit by a train is likely.
No matter where you're going, Sergeant Wiltrout wants all drivers who cross the tracks to arrive alive.
The number one thing I tell people is to be patient. If you go across the tracks and you make it to your destination 10, 15, 20 seconds early, what time are you really making up?
Sergeant Wiltrout says to see the lights and or train at a railroad crossing and cross anyway is a misdemeanor in Minnesota. Brian?
All right, Mark, thanks. And while the cause of this accident remains under investigation, the sergeant considers the program, Operation Life, a success when they have no